It's 2001. The Lakers have won their second championship in a row, 9/11 has rocked the nation, Monsters, Inc. is Pixar's latest hit, and Lord of the Rings is shaking the big screen. But meanwhile, something else is starting to rock the world of both the internet and the advertising industry forever. At BMW, sales were stagnating, and they had no new products to release that year. Mercedes, Lexus, and other luxury brand competitors were passing them by. It was clear something had to change, and fast. So they did what any logical car company would do. They made a bunch of Hollywood-level action movies with some of the hottest directors and actors on the planet.
We'll call it into highway patrol from the next town.
It began when they reached out to their trusted advertising partners, Fallon Worldwide. BMW was tired of their worn-out advertising routines and didn't want to repeat the industry's favorite stylish car riding down a mountainside, cruising through cities, or zipping across the flat plains kind of commercials. Analyzing their engagement and sales through the lens of a high-investment car purchase model, represented by this funnel, BMW and Fallon observed that while their customers were well represented in the top part of the funnel, the emotional side, their actual follow-through into a sale, represented by the lower half, was much poorer than their competitors. Based on this, they knew they needed to somehow retain the emotional engagement of potential customers in order to bring them through to the purchase. The creatives at Fallon brainstormed an idea, but its unusual nature meant it would take some faith. Fallon wanted something longer than what a TV spot could give them. They wanted to show off the power and performance of BMW cars, but in a TV ad, having less than a couple minutes to do so made it difficult, and their target demographic of the young, wealthy, and ambitious under 40 customer likely wasn't watching much of the TV that a traditional ad would be placed in anyways. They also wanted to push the car, even be able to damage it if needed. BMW didn't flinch and gave Fallon the green light. They had total creative freedom. Fallon's big idea was a movie called The Hire, starring a mysterious driver sporting a BMW through intense action sequences. It would be an hour or less in length and would be released on the internet. An internet release was crucial to their plan, as it was strongly backed up by customer data. BMW found that their average customer was an affluent 40-something without kids making six figures. More importantly, 85% of BMW purchasers had researched their car purchasing options online before making a decision. Fallon and BMW felt like an internet-driven campaign would be the best way to connect to their target audience and continue to connect to upcoming younger generations. Fallon Worldwide had an ace up their sleeve, though, in the form of David Fincher and his production company Anonymous Content. If anyone could connect them to the talent they needed to make the film truly exceptional, it was Fincher. They reached out to Anonymous Content and presented their wild idea. Not only was Fincher on board, but he also recommended that they separate the hour-long idea into 5 separate short films, which would reduce the file size, as the download of 5 separate smaller films was easier than attempting the gargantuan file size of a 1-hour-long movie. Remember, this is 4 years before YouTube existed. To watch these videos, you either had to download them or stream them on BMW's website. Truly, it was the Wild West of the digital age. Fincher reached out to some leading industry talent, netting a top director for each short film, which included such names as Guy Ritchie, Alejandro Iñárritu, and Ang Lee. The actors were of similar caliber, including such names as Stellan Skarsgård, Madonna, and Forest Whitaker. The unifying factor for all these films was the mysterious James Bond-styled driver, or the Hire, played by Clive Owen. He would be the image of the quintessential BMW driver that they wanted their customers to feel like. These shorts wouldn't just be little action vignettes, but fleshed out narratives with complex emotions and characters, from action to drama to comedy. Fallon planned to release the films with traditional advertising typical of blockbuster movies, a somewhat unconventional move considering they were essentially putting out advertising to get people to go watch their advertising. Posters, trailers, billboards, and other media would be employed to garner an audience. This was possibly their only option for virality, as in 2001, they couldn't post it and wait for it to blow up on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. They didn't have a ton of money for promotion, however, as they spent the vast majority of their budget on the production itself, which could be a pretty risky move if things didn't play out the way they wanted. After production was complete, BMW released the first film, Ambush, on BMWfilms.com in April of 2001. The response? Nobody cared. Just kidding. The response was far more explosive than they ever could have imagined. BMW's original target was 3 million views. In 6 months, they had already scored well over 10 million views, eventually ballooning to over 100 million by the time YouTube was born in 2005. Media coverage went haywire over the advertising wonder, spurring hundreds of print and web articles from the likes of Forbes, the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, and a host of others. How did the publicity translate to sales? A year after the release of the films, BMW sales had spiked 17%. Over a 2-year period, BMW sales left Lexus and Mercedes in the dust. It was calculated that the amount of media coverage generated for BMW came out to approximately $26 million in free publicity, resulting in nearly half the dollars spent per minute of exposure as compared to traditional campaigns. The instant success of the film series inspired a second season of shorts releasing in 2002, boasting names like Don Cheadle, Gary Oldman, and James Brown, and they were produced by the one and only Ridley Scott. Awards started to pile up as well, culminating in one of the industry's highest honors, the Titanium Lion Award at the Cannes International Advertising Festival. It says that the award honors game-changing creativity, work that marks a new direction for the industry and moves it forward. Not only did brand engagement and dealer visits spike among the target age range for the campaign, the BMW films also translated beautifully into what Fallon had hoped would happen, something they called the annuity effect. Whereas most advertising campaigns have a pretty short lifespan, quickly falling into forgotten irrelevance, the Hire shorts became a product that continually captured new audiences, working to engage new customers across generations for years without any additional marketing spending. The Hire even boasts its own permanent display at the Museum of Modern Art in New York City. Of course, all of this success didn't come without inspiring imitation, though, as other corporations wanted a piece of the action. Mercedes tried its hand at the film angle by making its own fake movie trailer called Lucky Star, starring Benicio del Toro, and the BMW series was even the inspiration for the Jason Statham series of action films, The Transporter.
It's a brilliant format. I'm back in the car, we're doing action in the BMW, and I'm like, feel so familiar again already.
In 2016, for the 15th anniversary of the Hire campaign, BMW released another installment of The Hire featuring Dakota Fanning, John Bernthal, and of course Clive Owen's now older, wizened The Hire character.
I might be a little rusty right now, but I've been doing this for a long time.
We've started to see branded content on the rise in recent years with examples like Patagonia's documentary series and the occasional short film style ad like this Coca-Cola short film created by the brilliant Taika Waititi. But modern branded content will never have the same bold, internet-shattering impact that The Hire did. These shorts weren't just given to ad agencies to turn into glorified commercials, they were ideas BMW gave to real artists, directors who were from the storytelling and not the advertising industry, and were turned into real pieces of art lacking virtually any semblance of product pushing. For its risky, groundbreaking artistry and harnessing of the early internet landscape, The Hire stands alone in the annals of advertising, blurring the lines between art and promotion. It proved that long-winded sales pitches over top of recycled visuals simply can't compete with engaging narratives and incredible visuals. The impact of the Hire series and BMW's work in applying customer data to advertising strategy is still being analyzed today, as the Hire is frequently cited in case studies and is studied in business schools. And while maybe not every brand can justify creating many documentaries or movies to help sell products, I still generally hope corporations can remember the stratospheric success of the Hire campaign and the magic that can happen when brands give great storytellers the reins to their advertising with some creative freedom. Because when given the challenge, I'll bet there's nothing a great director would love more than to say,
Let me see what I can do, sir.